Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Sadlier School Live. My name is Kimberly Woods, and I'm thrilled to be bringing back Sarah Ressler Wrignt, aka Vocab Gal. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, Kimberly.
Welcome to another week here on Sadlier School Live, and we are super excited to be diving into today's topic. We're going to be talking about really taking a pause out of your daily schedule right now to make sure you're checking in emotionally and being a really good mentor to yourself, to other peers you might be working with, and your students or learners at home. So before we dive into today's topic, I just want to remind you all of a few things. Number one, drop us a chat in the comments and say hello so we can say hello back. We love to hear from our friends out there so we can feel that community and we don't feel quite so isolated here on Facebook Live. And number two, I want to remind all of you that as we talk today, I'll be dropping any links that we're discussing into the chat for you to access there. So Sarah, do you want to kind of start with this topic and talk about why it's important for us to check in with our mental health right now at this time and kind of slow down in that regards?
Sure, Kimberly. And so essentially, Cam and I were talking about how I worry about ourselves and our students and our new teachers. At this point in the year, it is April, and more and more states are closing schools for the year. And there's just a lot of anxiety, I think. And so I know that I talk to a lot of teachers who are worried about grades and who are worried about, feeling the fact that they want to teach all these things and it's not going as well as they wanted. And I think we need to sort of pull back a little bit too and just kind of think, all right, the big overall picture here is to think about kind of coaching and mentoring our students through these very unexpected times. And so I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed in my email every day of you can use this resource and you can use this resource. And I think, but what about me? And I have confession, I have been looking at the real simple emails that tell me how to declutter something or how to make a potted plant, because I can handle that. And I feel very overwhelmed when I think about all the things I could be sharing with my students and teachers. And then I just spin my wheels.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a couple of really good points here, Sarah, is that a lot of us had these plans, you had some lessons or units you were excited about going through with students, and everything's been derailed. And now you're sitting here thinking, do I still try to run with it and do it online? Do I just scrap it to next year? And that can be very, very disheartening. Yeah. And I just love what you're saying here of like, you know what, let's make sure that even in times like this, where maybe we're a little stressed or disheartened or overwhelmed, that we are really still thinking about our emotional and mental health.
Yes. And I have to give a shout out. My teacher, Samantha, had posted on Twitter how she had a student who thanked her and said their family had been very sad and stressed. And because the way that Samantha does things, she just kind of puts out an email on Sunday that says, this is what we're doing for the week. And then has a little thing every day. The consistency of doing that, even if that student's not doing the work, just the messaging is consistent. And she did a mental health unit and really kind of helping her students focus on taking care of themselves. I know 2 of our science teachers are doing a mental health unit with science. And I think, so this number one is really for all of us. I'm going to reassure you right now as a teacher, as an administrator, as a coach, that just being there for the students is what they need right now.
Yep. Showing up in whichever capacity that is, whether it's like you're saying, it's a simple email that you're outreaching to people to, or the extreme variations where I've seen on social media where an educator goes and sits out in front of a house with the student just to have that one-on-one FaceTime connection with them. So I think that reassurance is really, really vital.
Yes. And so I want to reassure you that you are working hard. And so even when the students aren't doing the work, they are appreciating that you're communicating with them. And the more that you can also, as a mentor, reassure your students that we are going to get together at some point. I don't know when that's going to be, but I am here for you, and that I care enough to send the email, or I care enough to post my ideas online, and don't be afraid of kind of saying it's, we are going to make this, we're going to get through this. Because I think we can't make false promises, but we can say we will get through this. We will persevere. And so that number one, and also really thinking about new teachers. And I know that I am in charge of new teachers throughout our district. And so I've been trying to send out some reassuring messages to them and saying, hey, your new teacher work that you're getting done, it's going to look different. And, the projects that you have to create for the final end of year kind of reflection is going to be different, but get it done. And I hope that for all of you, if you have new teacher work to be doing, that you can get it done in an unusual fashion, but it's just going to get done. So make sure you're reaching out to some new teachers if you're worried about them, as well as your students. And then again, this encouragement is very, I think that's what we do best, right? And so is it that you grade every single assignment? No. Is it that you put up every single lesson you want to? No. But you're going to provide encouragement for your students, for your teachers, for everyone, that we are still here, and it looks weird, but we're here.
Yep.
And so then I think we talked about this last week too, that the students respond best. I know there's a lot of anxiety over students not responding and not putting in work.
Yep.
But when we offer feedback to students, that personal feedback, that personal email, that's really when they respond the most.
Yeah, and it's true. When it feels individualized to them, like they're not just one of many, right?
Right. And I got an email back from my daughter's teacher today, one of her special teachers, that said, thank you for dressing in your costume. It looks like a wave. It's so beautiful. So again, that personal, this is what you look like, and this is why I liked it, is great.
Yeah.
And then there's kind of two last ones here. The oh no moment is what we're in right now. I mean, let's be real clear. But my son was very anxious yesterday because he had not done well on a math quiz, and that drops his grade down. Well, then he looked today, and that grade went back up because it wasn't counted. And so I feel like that's the oh no moment. And I'm having a lot of teachers who have students who respond when they see, oh no, I got a bad grade, or oh no, this isn't working. But then really to turn it around and saying, I'm there for you. I'm not going to count that right now. It's about passing. It's about taking care of you. And that information that you didn't get, was it because you were rushing? Was it because I need to set up a call with you to go over things again? Is it because life circumstances are getting in the way? But kind of being there, I felt like his teacher was really there in his oh no moment.
And I think you brought up another really good point here, and that is that in these oh no moments, we can work through some problem solving ideas with the students. Like you said, like, is it that we need to do more work? Do we need to, I think if you're also working through that problem solving with the student, it's a very valuable learning experience that they can have in this oh no time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that also goes down to reflection. And this morning, my son got the question, what skills have you gained in this unusual time? And he said that he was learning more responsibility because he has a cat. And so he's having to take care of the cat now that we just got. And then I also feel like he's having to take more responsibility for his work. He has to read over, he keeps trying to punt it to me. Hey, Mom, can you do this for me? No. So taking some time to reflect, and I think this is also really hard, but this is what's good about being able to slow down and reflect also personally. What can you do that you've been putting off? My cousin and I have been working with her, and just the household things that you put off because you're running around frantically trying to get everything else done. Take more time, and I've been encouraging her to do this as well. Take more time for yourself right now, for you to get the project done that you want to get done, because that, and I keep saying this, and Oprah says it all the time as well, when you put on your own oxygen mask first, you can take care of everybody else. And it is now
wholeheartedly agree with that.
More important than ever. You have to take care of yourself first.
I mean, I've even seen people at home just going and sitting in their car in the driveway or the garage just so they feel like they can have their me time and get out of the house. So even if you have to go to that extreme, it is very important, like you said, to put your oxygen tank on first, and then you have enough energy to help fulfill other people's lives around you.
And so whatever that may be, whether that is staying upstairs and letting other people go downstairs, or putting on your headphones and doing a little coloring, which I've been trying to do a little bit, listening to an audiobook, but really reflecting on what makes you happy and doing more of that.
Yep, I love that. It's beautiful. I think we had a couple other quick resources to share with people, right? And I'll just drop them into the link here. But we had a blog post that you wrote where you've kind of walked us through a lot of these strategies. And again, this was written originally for mentoring of new teachers, but a lot of the tools that are talked about in this blog post can be used with your students, with other teachers you're working with, and also on yourself.
So I was talking with a teacher this morning that they have to kind of do some reflection on a lesson, which is kind of hard to get in and observe a lesson right now. So if you have an electronic way that you're communicating, somebody else can observe that and give you some feedback on what is going well with that, what they might change or improve. And again, we have to be kind to ourselves right now in terms of what we're doing, and can't ask too much of ourselves, but this is kind of a glow and grow feedback form for that, that you can also send to your students. So what are the points of positivity that they're doing in their work? What are some areas of growth that they can work on? And again, not too discouraging, but some constructive feedback, always helpful.
Yep.
And then finally, this reflection sheet. Again, we talk about reflection. This sort of breaks it down more. And so if you kind of want to fill one of these out, what has what's kind of working what has been working since we got home? What have you done well? What feedback have you gotten from others? And then what is a concern? What is a question? And so who are you going to reach out to? And in this case, this is your next steps and your mentor's next steps. If you don't have a mentor, then certainly you know who your resources are. If you are informally mentoring someone else, I would suggest you sort of start up a conversation with them and kind of use these questions as some jumping off points. What has been working since you've been home? What are the concerns that you have? I always like to start off meetings with, what is your win for the week? And so this is another way to kind of think about what, for students, for new teachers, for those that you're helping, what is working, what is a win for you? And then where little ways that you can take care of yourself and improve your practice as we go towards the end of the year.
There's something that we do around the dinner table at night, and we play just a game, and I'm sure people have heard of it, but 2 roses and a thorn, where we go around the table and as a family, we talk about like the 2 roses in our day and then the thorn. And we still have been continuing to do it, even though there's, multiple days on end where it's just the 4 of us in the house and we're not seeing a lot of people. But I just think, again, it's just a really great way for kids to reflect on what are the beautiful moments that they had in their day, or what were the thorns in their side. And okay, let's talk about that thorn. What are some ways that, we could maybe make it a rose? And I think you could even take this simple download that you're showing us, and even though it's made for mentors, you could take some of the ideas that are written on this reflection sheet, and around the dinner table or lunch, just sit down and start to kind of talk through it. What is working while we're on quarantine for us, in the house? What's not working? What could we improve on? Because I think if kids can develop that internal evaluation skill, it's just really going to help them throughout life.
Well, and even here, we've learned that I need to help my own children in the morning, and then work on my own work in the afternoon, because they're more fresh and willing to work in the morning, and they do need more help from me than I thought they did. I also learned that my background, when I was first doing this, I wanted to change that. So this is also kind of a fun, what is working in terms of your setup, what is not working. I put a little hook on the side for my headphones. And so just kind of finding some fun hacks around the house that's gonna make your office setup work better for you. Both of my children made an upstairs as well as their desk here in the living room. And so finding some different ways that will work for you spatially in your own setup, as well as mentally, what do you need?
And I think right now is a really good time for all of us to do this type of internal evaluation and reflection, because here we are 4 weeks in to our quarantine.
Yep.
And now we kind of have the data from the 4 weeks of like what our schedule looked like and what we were doing, that we could go back through and analyze and say, okay, yeah, it didn't work for me to do school with my children in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I should like shuffle around my schedule and do school with them in the morning and then do my stuff in the afternoon. And we don't know what's working and what's not until we have those weeks of data to back it up. So it's a good time for all of us to be doing this.
And does anybody have any questions or feedback? I'm always looking for other ideas that people are using. I love your 2 roses and a thorn, Kimberly. Yeah. And we really want questions and ideas and suggestions for what do you want us to talk about.
How are you guys doing this type of self-evaluation for yourself, your students, your family? We want to hear about it because, as we've mentioned, most of our best ideas come from other people's ideas.
Yeah.
And so let us know, leave a comment. We'd love to follow up with you. And we are going to be back tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific, and we would love to see you all there. So if you're around, come and join us, or you can catch the replay. Let us know if you're hanging with us in the comments so we can follow up and say hi. And is there anything else, Sarah, that we had for today?
No, I'm excited to see you later this week.
I am too. Okay, thanks everybody. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.